In the last video, I discussed Gathering Blue, a sequel to The Giver that didn't really feel like a sequel to The Giver. But this time, I will be going over Messenger, which actually does feel like a sequel to The Giver. So, let's get right into this. Welcome back to BG's Books. I'm Mr. BG, and today I'll be reviewing Messenger by Lois Lowry. So, Messenger is, of course, the third book in the Giver Quartet. I'm currently reading the fourth one, so there you go, I'm almost through it. But I finished Messenger here, and I will say Messenger is certainly better than Gathering Blue, as it feels more of a sequel to The Giver than Gathering Blue did. Again, I'm not saying that Gathering Blue was bad. I'm just saying that it certainly just was its own thing, not really connected from the other ones. But anyway, so Messenger takes place about 6 years later, after the events of Gathering Blue, and follows a side character from the last one, Matt, who now goes by Maddie. So, but in order to actually explain what Messenger is about, let's get into the summary. So, like I said, Messenger takes place about 6 years after the events of Gathering Blue. Matt has taken Kira's father, Kira was the main girl in 2, and has gone to the next village over from where Kira is through these woods. She is still there, by the way. And so he's been living with her father, who is now known as Seer, and he just kind of lives with him and stuff, is his eyes and everything. So yeah, everything's peaceful for a while. But in this place called Village, they have a leader, and the leader is actually Jonas from the first book. Yes, and so basically what happened is that after he sled down that hill on the snow, the village he ended up in was very welcoming to newcomers, and so they just kind of patched him up, like helped him through everything, and then he became the leader of this place. And so things are going all right. Like he even put his sled in a museum. And then Gabe, remember the little baby that he brought? He's like in school right now. So that's very exciting and stuff. And so life in Village is kind of really cool at the moment. But in the meantime, Maddie, as he goes by now. I guess I should have explained this in the second one for Gathering Blue, but I guess Kira's Village like has a rule to where the older you get, the more syllables you can have your name. Like if you're really young, you have one syllable name. You get a little older, you got 2. A little older than that, you got 3, and then when you're really old, you got 4. So stuff like that. But anyway, so Matt is now Maddie. So now moving on past from that, he's walking through woods because he's a messenger, which means he can travel through these very dangerous woods to give people messages, specifically between Village and wherever Kira is. And so that's his job. And while on the way, he sees a very like broken frog that's been attacked by something, and so he's gonna try and sever the leg to like make it less painful or whatever. But as he's touching the frog, he realizes that the frog actually got the leg reattached by itself. So basically, what this is implying is that Maddie has the power to heal people just by touching them, or just heal anything in general. So if you're a fan of Star Wars like myself, that's like the Force heal, or that's like some sort of telekinetic healing or something. I don't know. It's healing stuff. Anyway, so yeah, he discovers his new power and kind of tells people about it. But meanwhile, Village is arrived upon by this guy named the Trade Master, and he opens up this place called the Trade Mart. Everybody can trade and stuff. And so these villagers, who were once very hospitable people, always welcoming in newcomers and whatever, they start to get very greedy because of this Trade Mart. And the only people who are against the Trade Mart are Leader, which is Jonas, and Seer, which is Kira's dad. And so, because everyone's so greedy now, they vote to close off the borders of Village so no one new can get in, because they're just very greedy now. But Leader manages to convince them that they will not close the borders for 3 weeks. Anyway, meanwhile, Kira's still back at her own village. So Seer basically convinces Maddie to go through the woods and get Kira and stuff. So he's like, okay, I'll do that. So he makes it through the woods and then goes find Kira. He offers to heal her leg because she has a very bad leg, mind you, that I covered in the last video. But so she doesn't want to be healed of her leg because that just like defines who she is or whatever. But she does agree to go back to village with Maddie, and the trip through the woods this time is not as forgiving. I don't know what's happening, but for some reason the woods just decide to trap them, ensnare them, infect them with poison ivy, cut them all over and everything. So like it's really bad. And so they're in so much peril that the leader, Jonas, he can see beyond. That's why he was the receiver of memories in the first place. He sees that they're in trouble and he ventures into the woods to save them as well. But he also gets trapped. And so Matt is just like seeing Kira die and stuff, and he's just like, I don't even want to live anymore. So what he does is he slowly lowers himself into like a lake or pond or something in forest. And sorry, Maddie. I keep saying Matt. It's Maddie now. And so what he does is I should also mention that his healing powers kind of detract from his own life. So like he's giving his own life essence into something else, if that makes any sense. I should have mentioned that. But so what he does is that in the ultimate sacrificial move, he touches the forest and his healing powers just basically shut down the forest's hostility, and Kira and Jonas are freed, and they go to see Maddie's lifeless body. Maddie has been wanting to be known as Messenger, but instead Jonas gives him the name of Healer instead. And so what they do is they take his body and they make their way back to village. And that is how Messenger ends. So overall, what did I think about Messenger? Well, for one thing, as I said, it certainly feels more like a sequel to The Giver than Gathering Blue did, because Gathering Blue, it was of course referenced in 3, and seems like it'll be like a main thing in 4, but Gathering Blue for itself is like kind of its own thing, and then Messenger goes back to the roots of The Giver, which is what we wanted a sequel to in the first place because of that weird like cliffhanger ending at the end of The Giver. So it takes Messenger 11 years after the original release to finally address what happened at the end of The Giver. But I think it works. Jonas is now leader. He was taken in. Gabe is in school and learning stuff, and Jonas's sled is in the museum and stuff. So like everything's going great. So yeah, there's not really a lot of complaints I have about it. And yeah. Also, the book is just really short. It's actually the shortest of the quartet, coming in at like just over 200 pages or even just under 200 pages. I don't quite remember. I didn't look at the page count this time. But Messenger, I do like that it follows up on both The Giver and Gathering Blue. It connects both of them together, and then I imagine that Sun, the fourth one, will do even more of that. But I like that Maddie here is a healer on top of a messenger. I do like that. And yeah, I really have nothing bad to say about Messenger. It's just a really fun book. It's a super short read, and if you were kind of burned by Gathering Blue for not answering what happened at the end of The Giver, Messenger certainly does that, so that'll probably be redeeming for a lot of Giver fans, such as myself, because the first book was great, and the Gathering Blue just did not acknowledge it hardly at all. But anyway, so yeah, I just really like Messenger. It's just it's super fun, and I like it. It's super short, and it makes a lot of sense with the Giver series as a whole. So go read Messenger, because it's just worth your time, I think. But yeah, guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to like and subscribe down below if you have not already. We are still on that train to 300 subscribers. But anyway, so next time we will be reviewing Sun, which is, of course, as I mentioned, the final book in the Giver Quartet. It's also the longest one that I've noticed because the first three are like this small, and then Sun is like this about. So it's certainly the longest one. It's got the most plot threads in there, and it seems to tie everything together, at least from what I've read so far. I've only read the first of 3 parts, but yeah, it certainly seems like it's going to tie everything together. But anyway, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review for Messenger, and stay tuned for the review on Sun. But in the meantime, this has been BG's Books, and I've been Mr. BG, and I will see you guys in the next video.